Should it be parliamentary or presidential system is the debate that's currently making the rounds around the legislative corridors. And to help us understand that, we've now been joined by Robert Clarke, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Thank you so much indeed for joining us on Sunrise Daily.
It's always my pleasure. Always.
You have heard this conversation. 71 lawmakers have agreed that we need to revert to a parliamentary system of government. Is that necessarily so?
Well, let us look at it from this angle. I've always said it, and this is not my first time coming to say it, that the 1999 Constitution that we operate in Nigeria today is a rotten egg. And can you build anything on a rotten egg? Therefore, we must have a change. A change is either going back to the parliamentary system of governance or sticking to the presidential system of governance, which for the past 20 years has been sinking this country down and down below.
Is it about the system or is it about those running the system?
There are two ways to look at it. If a system is foolproof of corruption, if a system guarantees everything that a democracy needs, it is not those who operate it. Because those who operate it must operate within the confines. But you have a system today that is built on corruption. Corruption first. Section 5 of the 1999 Constitution says all executive powers are vested in Mr. President. States government says all executive powers in the states are based on the governor. Is that a system that gives all executive powers to one man? Therefore, that system is flawed. And you can't build anything on it. If you have a corrupt man sitting on that system, it is an avenue to be more corrupt. If you have a decent man sitting on that post, but you have around him, surrounding him, people who want to benefit from the corrupt system, they will make him to be corrupt. So it's better to jettison the system. Let us look at the history of Nigeria. The best we've ever had in Nigeria is between 1960 and 1965. The growth rate in the Western region, the meat of Awolowo today was because he had money, he had a vision, he had a plan, and the system did not promote corruption. So we saw results. Today, a governor will sit down, allot to himself over 10 billion as security votes. Nobody asks him how he spends it. Is that a good system? So, if these members of the House now look back and see that it is 2 steps forward, 3 steps backward, where are we going? But the question is, can they do what they say they want to do? Does this constitution allow it?
We needed a two-thirds majority if they must continue with this.
They cannot do anything.
We have 360 members of the House of Reps. There are just 71 who have signed on to this.
When Jonathan set up that constituent assembly, I said it here in your station, that nothing will come out of it because the legal basis upon which any decision of his assembly could be built upon was absent. And I was proved right. Now, members of the House of Representatives, when they were elected, swore to a constitution, which is the 1999 Constitution. Where is it in the 1999 Constitution that allows them to bring such a motion? It's not there. They don't have the power to bring a motion, whether 2/3, whether 10/3, to say we want to change this constitution. They don't have the power.
Mr. Clarke, at this point, will the referendum work?
Thank you. You are just coming to the point. What I suggested to Jonathan in those days was that go to the National Assembly, because under the 1999 Constitution, you cannot change it. You have sworn. So all these members who are going to say they want to, it's all bullshit. They don't have the power. Now, what they can do is to now come round, pass a resolution, as you said, that we are tired of this system of governance. Can you let us bring this bill so that we can tell Mr. President to look into it and send it to a referendum? That's the best they can do. They bring the motion they are bringing now, pass it by ordinary resolution. It doesn't need 2/3. Send it to Mr. President. We believe we are running a system that is rotten. We want to change it. Under this 1999 Constitution, Section 5 says you own all the executive powers. So, create a referendum for us. Is it presidential? Is it parliamentary? Whenever you now do that and a result comes, return it to us as a bill. Then let us consider it. That is the only way they can go about it.
So under this very constitution, the president can go ahead and call for a referendum?
No, he cannot on his own. If it means changing the constitution. Because he has sworn on this first day to protect this constitution. If Mr. President swore to protect the 1999 Constitution, why will he now initiate things that will change that Constitution?
And at the same time, the National Assembly can't just get up and change the Constitution.
They cannot.
They can only amend it.
They can only amend this Constitution. They can't change it. Get a referendum on this bill to know what Nigerians think about. That is only the thing they can do. Outside that, they have no other power. Now, if they pass that bill, Mr. President now says, yes, I assent, I agree, I will put my executive powers into function, allow INEC or whatever group organize a referendum. If Nigerians now say, we want this, we want that, then it goes back to the National Assembly. But when it gets there, what happens? Do you jettison the 1999 Constitution just like that? When there's no provision in the same Constitution, which you have sworn to protect, you will be looked at as if you're undermining the Constitution that brought you into the House. So it's a very difficult and dicey thing to do.
But isn't it clear enough at this point to see that governance, to a large extent, has been looked at by a lot of people as one that has failed? And the mere coming out of these 71 lawmakers to say that we need to change, isn't that enough when they say that this system is not sustainable?
It is enough to synthesize me and you. It is enough to synthesize those who are not in agreement with what our politicians are doing today. I agree with you, but how effective it is. Because if you look at the 1999 Constitution, there is this preamble, we the people of Nigeria have... Who are the people who set up the 1999 Constitution? Allow a referendum. How does it happen? You ask me that question. These people can't do it. The National Assembly, forget about them. The executive cannot do it, forget about them. We need a third force.
A third force again?
A third force has to come in to change. Because it is a change that is very radical. It is a change that goes to the root of our existence constitutionally. So we need a third force.
That's a place we have to let it rest. My apologies, we're running out of time. Robert Clarke, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, thank you so much indeed. Always a pleasure having you discuss very topical national issues with us.
Always my pleasure.
And that's how Sunrise Daily has been this morning. Thank you so much indeed for watching. I am Gimba Umar.
I am Neota Igbe.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on this program are those of the maker and do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, and endorsement of Channels Television.